I'm sleeping with Daddy.
I was bewildered by the words of my 5-year-old granddaughter. That was because we were at a graveyard. She had collapsed in a tattered state in front of the grave of my son, who had lost his life in an accident. Moreover, it seemed as if she had been staying there for several days. "Where's Mommy?" She looked at me with a confused expression.
She's with my little brother and my new daddy.
Eventually, she began to tell me what had happened, tears streaming down her face. Seeing her like this made me feel a tightening in my chest. How could they leave such a young child alone like this? Additionally, the horrifying truth came to light, and I rose up for revenge. Maggie, that's me, had struggled with infertility well into my early 30s. Then, 32 years ago, at the age of 36, I finally conceived and gave birth to my long-awaited child, whom I named Danny. I cherished my only son and raised him with all my love and care. When Danny turned 32, he came to me with some news.
I'm getting married.
I'm glad. Your father in heaven would be delighted too.
I'll come visit to introduce her soon.
And when my son arrived, he brought with him Sharon, a quiet 28-year-old woman. Please take care of Danny.
Yes, and I appreciate your kindness.
I found her to be a genuinely sincere person. Sharon and I would get along without any trouble between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. I thought so, but after Danny and Sharon got married, a year later, they had their first child, Anna, and then 2 years after that, their son Hugo was born. However, I hardly got to see Hugo at all. When Anna was born, I used to visit my son's house frequently, but after the birth of their second child, I was forbidden from going there.
I'm sorry, Mom. Sharon says she gets stressed when you come over.
Danny's words hit me like a punch to the gut. I hadn't realized that my frequent visits to my son's family were unknowingly causing stress for my daughter-in-law. Filled with remorse, I stopped visiting their house. There was one occasion when my son came alone to our house, but after that, we drifted apart from each other. One day, out of the blue, I got a call from my daughter-in-law, Sharon.
Maggie. Danny fell into the sea.
She choked back tears as she revealed something shocking to me. What? What do you mean? That's not possible.
Well, actually.
To summarize what my daughter-in-law told me, my son went out alone for a fishing trip, which was his hobby, and accidentally fell into the sea and lost his life. There were no eyewitnesses, but his fishing gear was found at the scene, indicating that there was likely no one around to rescue him. Additionally, it was discovered that there was a hole under the arm of the life jacket my son was wearing, which he might not have noticed.
From the fishing spot, the thermos I gave him was missing. I thought it might be cold near the sea, so I gave it to him.
Perhaps he dropped it into the sea, and while trying to retrieve it, he accidentally fell in? As I said my thoughts, my daughter-in-law, still crying, murmured,
That's possible.
According to Sharon, the police, upon hearing her account, treated it as a tragic accident. I hurried to my son's family's house, but my daughter-in-law seemed too shocked to do anything. So, I took charge of all the arrangements and ended up being the chief mourner. What will happen to Sharon, Anna, and Hugo from now on? Even though I lived separately, I was deeply shocked by the news. I couldn't imagine the immense pain my daughter-in-law and grandchildren, who lived with him, must be feeling. For their sake, I managed to prepare for the funeral and somehow get through it. However, 1 month after my son's death, things took a dramatic turn. When I visited the grave for the 1 month anniversary of his death, I witnessed something unbelievable. Huh? Someone's collapsed in front of Danny's grave. It was a small child, around 5 years old, wearing tattered clothes with mud stains, and there were holes here and there. Hey, are you okay? When I helped the child up, I realized it was someone I knew well. Huh? Anna?
Oh, Grandma.
My granddaughter Anna, with her eyes half open, was covered in mud from head to toe, to the point where she was almost unrecognizable. Tear streaks marked her cheeks. Why did you collapse here like this? As I wiped her face with a wet handkerchief, Anna shook her head.
I didn't collapse. I was sleeping with Daddy.
As soon as she said those words, tears welled up in her eyes again. What on earth was my daughter-in-law Sharon doing, leaving Anna at Danny's grave? Where's Mommy?
With my brother Hugo, at our new daddy's place.
What? I was completely taken aback. This news about a new dad was completely unexpected, and I hadn't heard a word about it from my daughter-in-law. Despite feeling bewildered by this sudden revelation, my priority was Anna. I brought her back to my home and decided to feed her. You must be hungry after being out there. Eat as much as you want. However, my granddaughter just stared silently at the steaming bowl of soup in front of her.
I hope Hugo isn't hungry.
With those few words, spoken softly, my heart filled with sadness. I'm sure he'll be okay. Anna, you need to eat and get strong so you can see Hugo.
Okay.
With those words, my granddaughter, awkwardly laughing, picked up his spoon and began to eat. And once Anna got full and calmed down, I decided to hear the full story. Listening to her story, I trembled with anger as I learned the truth my daughter-in-law had hidden. I will never forgive this. I will avenge Danny and Anna. Fuming with rage, I vowed revenge and stood up. First things first, I needed to find out where my daughter-in-law was. I went to the house where my son and his wife used to live, but it had already been sold and was empty. However, I was able to find a new lead from there. There's no mail in the mailbox. That means they submitted a change of address, right? To receive mail and other deliveries, it was necessary to submit a change of address notification and transfer the resident registry. So, my next step was to visit the municipal office to inquire about the resident registry. As a result, I got her new address and Sharon's current situation. Since her last name hasn't changed, it means she's just cohabiting with the other man. I secretly headed to my daughter-in-law's new address and visited people living nearby to ask about them. According to the neighbors, my daughter-in-law and her new partner didn't have a very good relationship with the neighborhood. Furthermore, it turned out that a nosy neighbor had been investigating and had found out the true identity of the new partner. Combining this with what Anna had told me, I came to a certain conclusion. That Danny crossed over to the other side wasn't because of an accident. However, finding evidence was difficult since the incident happened at sea, where fingerprints and other evidence would have been washed away. My son's body had already been cremated, so there was no way to examine it. At this point, I have no choice but to take a gamble. I devised a plan to uncover the truth about the incident. The next day, after making all the necessary preparations, I headed to Sharon's new address.
Hello. What? Maggie?
My daughter-in-law, who answered the doorbell, seemed completely off guard and looked startled the moment she saw my face. Ignoring her reaction, I said firmly, "I'm coming in." I quickly entered the house.
Hey, who the hell is this old hag?
"So, you're the new dad Anna mentioned. Nice to meet you." I found my daughter-in-law, the man, and my grandson Hugo there. After making sure that Hugo was sleeping peacefully, I turned my attention to my daughter-in-law. "Sharon, if you had found a new partner besides Danny, you should have told us."
Huh. Oh, well, haha.
She pulled her face with a forced smile. The man, who seemed to realize I was Danny's mother from my words, remained sprawled on the sofa. "So? Did you have this new boyfriend while you were still married to Danny, or did you start seeing him after Danny passed away? Things will change depending on that."
Well, obviously after Danny passed away, isn't it? Jack here has been comforting me since I was lonely.
"Are you sure? There's no going back on this."
What are you trying to say? Now that Danny's gone, I don't think it matters where I am or what I'm doing.
She retorted, her voice becoming strained as she seemed to grow uncomfortable with my suspicion. Well, if Danny's death was truly an accident. I could hear Sharon swallowing hard. Here we go. This is the moment of truth. To corner my daughter-in-law and her partner, I decided to lay out everything I had found about the new daddy. "That man there works at a strip club, doesn't he? It's been confirmed that you frequented that club."
What's your point? Even I need a change of pace sometimes. With 2 kids to take care of and all the stress, what's wrong with that?
"But you ended up having a relationship with him while accompanying that stripper, Jack, there." She avoided my gaze, sweating trickling down her forehead. "I met Anna. She was sleeping in front of Danny's grave while crying," I said, trying to maintain as much composure as possible while looking at her. "I found it strange. Why did you take Hugo with you, but left Anna behind?" Sharon couldn't bear my gaze and squeezed her eyes tight shut. Surely, she had realized that I had uncovered the truth. Anna is Danny's child, but Hugo is Jack's child, right? That's why only Anna, who shares Danny's blood, was left behind at the grave.
And where's the evidence for that?
Jack suddenly interjected, his voice rising in anger as he challenged me. Perhaps he thought Sharon was incapable of handling the situation on her own. We could easily find out with a parentage test.
Shit.
Jack's response was choked as I said that. Anna told me that Sharon often brought a stripper home while Danny was away. Furthermore, I revealed the information I had got from my granddaughter. Apparently, Sharon even introduced this man to Hugo as his new daddy. Moreover, that stripper there was the one who punctured Danny's life jacket.
Cut it out.
Jack rose from the sofa kicking the table, and yelled at me.
Do you think the police will act just based on a kid's words?
Yeah, that's right. Just the words of that kid won't be enough evidence.
Sharon retorted, emboldened by the host's words, and pushed back assertively.
If you're so desperate to turn Danny's accident into a case, then show some other evidence.
I fell silent, bowing my head and avoiding eye contact. Perhaps seeing that I couldn't retort.
See. This old hag is making baseless accusations without any evidence.
Jack sneered triumphantly.
What should we do? If you keep treating us like criminals, we could complain about you to the police.
Danny's insurance money won't fall into your laps. As I said it quietly, the stripper and Sharon exchanged surprised looks. Actually, my son visited our home alone while he was still alive. At that time, he said to me,
I want you to keep this.
And handed me a key to a safe deposit box. In the chaos of his passing and the subsequent funeral, I completely forgot about it. However, after hearing Anna's story, I began to wonder. So, for the first time, I opened that safe deposit box. There were documents for a life insurance policy and a letter in the box. In the letter, it said,
I've changed the beneficiary to you, Mom. Lately, Sharon's been spending money recklessly, and I can't leave anything for the kids. If anything happens to me, I want you to use it for them.
It seems Danny didn't know about your lavish spending at the strip club until the very end.
What?
My daughter-in-law was speechless, standing frozen. But the stripper, noticing her reaction, suddenly changed his demeanor.
Hey, this isn't what we agreed on. I helped you out because you promised to share the insurance money with me.
Hold on, there must be some mistake.
How do you plan to pay off the debt that has been piling up?
As Sharon and the stripper, Jack, got into a lover's spat, I took the opportunity for a turnaround. Finally, you showed your true colors. What I held up was a voice recorder that I had hidden in my pocket. As soon as they saw it, they turned pale. All your confessions are recorded in this. If I submit this to the police, it's game over for you.
No way. Sharon, don't let that old hag leave this house.
Sharon, still pale-faced, stepped forward and blocked my path towards the front door.
Now, hand over that recorder, or I'll bury you in the mountains.
Just as Sharon and Jack moved to silence me, the front door burst open with force, and police officers stormed in. You thought I'd recklessly come here without any precautions? I had already called the police beforehand.
Damn it.
The stripper and Sharon gritted their teeth in frustration as they were restrained by the police and escorted into the police car and taken away. Afterward, the two were arrested. The stripper Jack confessed to pushing my son into the sea. The police promised to launch a reinvestigation into Danny's case. Additionally, Sharon was also charged with neglecting her duty of care to Anna. With this, I believe my son in heaven can rest assured. I've decided to take in Anna and Hugo, and we're starting a new life together as a family. They're still young and lively at the ages of 5 and 3. Although I'm busy, I'm enjoying fulfilling days now.
See, just as I said, a defective product from late birth.
William, my ex-husband who left me for another woman 10 years ago, was smirking as he looked back and forth between my daughter in a wheelchair and me.
She's my child. Got a problem with that?
My current husband glared at William as he said this.
What? No way.
My happy life after remarrying. The truth dawned on William, and he looked up to the sky insanely. I am Jane, a housewife in my 40s. Now, I am remarried and living a happy life with my daughter Diana and my husband Oscar. Until 10 years ago, I was living a miserable life that cannot even be compared to the one I have now. I got married for the first time when I was 25 years old. I graduated from college and got a job where I met William. I worked as a receptionist, and he was in the sales department at the same company. As we saw each other every day, he started talking to me. We became friendly over time, and naturally started going out for meals and watching movies together after work. And then, on a date one day, he proposed to me like this.
I'm happy to have met someone like you. Will you marry me, so we can continue this happiness together?
Yes, I will. I accepted without hesitation. When my parents found out about the marriage, they were overjoyed. I quit my job after getting married. This was because William wanted me to stay at home. At first, I thought it would be best for both of us to work, but my husband had a different idea.
But you're a receptionist, right? You meet all sorts of people like me in sales or clients. I can't help but worry that someone might flirt with you.
We can save money if I work too. And we might have children eventually.
I'll work harder to make up for it.
My husband was possessive by nature. When we were dating, he even would get upset if I gave a birthday card to a male coworker. After getting married, I devoted myself to household chores. I tried to do everything I could for my husband: laundry, ironing, cooking, you name it. Life with him was peaceful and comfortable at first. But after a few months, things took a bad turn. The reason was my husband's behavior. He started to look down on me at every opportunity. When things weren't going well at work, he would be particularly harsh. He would complain a lot about dinner as soon as he came home.
Hey, what's this? You're serving me some bland fish dish.
Huh? Yesterday we had a meat dish, so I thought it'd be good to have fish today for a balanced diet.
Fish won't relieve my stress. Forget it. Bring me a beer.
Okay.
You wouldn't understand because you're always at home, but I'm under a lot of pressure. Even today, I've been to several clients and I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Tomorrow, I'll make your favorite dish.
You better understand.
At that time, I thought my husband was just tired and in a bad mood by chance. But even when I prepared his favorite dish and waited for him, he started coming home late more often due to sudden overtime or business entertainment. I had prepared your favorite dish for you. Then my husband glared at me.
You, who don't even work, have no right to speak to me like that.
I didn't become a housewife because I wanted to. Well then, I'll work too. We don't have kids yet. Isn't that okay?
What did you say? You need to take care of the house properly. You're my wife, so fully support me.
Then, I'll look for a part-time job during the day.
Alright, but don't slack off on the housework.
Fortunately, there was a part-time cashier position available at a nearby supermarket, and I got hired immediately after applying. But my husband's condescending attitude remained just as terrible.
Hey, this shirt is full of wrinkles. What's going on?
I did the laundry, but the weather was bad yesterday, so it didn't dry well. I'll iron it now.
I told you not to slack off on the housework, didn't I? If you can't do it properly, then quit your part-time job.
This made me feel more like a maid than a wife. My husband was like this at home, but he was affable to everybody outside of the home. One day, this happened.
We're going to my parents' house tomorrow, so prepare a gift for them.
What? Isn't this too sudden? If you had told me earlier, I could have prepared something.
That's why I'm telling you in advance now, right? Or are you saying you can't get it done?
It's not that, but I have my own schedule too.
You're just a part-timer, don't give me attitude. Make sure you get it ready. Understand?
I prepared a gift that I thought my husband's parents would like, and the next day we went to their house. Apparently, it was to celebrate the eldest son of my brother-in-law starting elementary school.
Jane, I'm sorry to trouble you. Thank you for coming.
I'm sorry, I should have brought something that your grandson would like.
It's just a dinner party. I told William that nothing was necessary, but he's always so considerate. You prepared it, didn't you? Thank you.
My mother-in-law said this to me. At his parents' house, my husband is known as the thoughtful second son. And there, he plays the role of a thoughtful husband towards me as well.
Jane started a part-time job recently. She chose a job near home so it wouldn't affect the housework.
It's difficult to work when you have children, isn't it?
Exactly. That's why she's working now, while she can.
That's a good idea. You two are really responsible.
My husband talks with my mother-in-law like that, creating an image of himself as an excellent son and a good husband. Because my husband is good at putting on a front like this even at my parents' house, I can't talk to anyone about him. And when I came back from in-law's house,
Hey, can't you be a bit more thoughtful? It's a wife's duty to support her husband when we're out, right?
huh? I did prepare the gift as you asked.
It's not just about that. You should play with my nephew, help out my mother. There are many things a daughter-in-law should do, right? It's not enough to just do what you're told.
I'm sorry. Whenever I returned from my husband's parents' house, I always got lectured like this. Since getting married, this kind of life continued, and I became more and more depressed. I couldn't do housework properly, I wasn't thoughtful enough, and I could only do what my husband told me to do. I was gradually brainwashed by my husband's condescending words into believing those things. At home, I was nothing more than a housekeeper. Every day, I just did the housework as my husband told me to and worked part-time during the day. Perhaps my husband got tired of me, as he started coming home later and later. Recently, you've been coming home late.
Work is busy.
I'd like you to at least let me know when you're going to be late. I need to prepare dinner.
Ha! Unlike your part-time job, sales work depends on the clients, so it's normal to adjust to their schedule. Don't you even understand that?
All I asked for was a heads up if he was going to be late. I had a feeling that his late nights weren't just because of work. The reason is, when I picked up my husband's suit to take it to the dry cleaners, I noticed the scent of women's perfume on it. Additionally, despite him coming home from work, I noticed the smell of shampoo, completely different from sweat. It's likely he's having an affair. But I didn't have the courage to confront him. If we divorce, I have nowhere to go. My parents like my husband, so I would be blamed if we split up. Also, I don't go out much aside from my part-time job and shopping, and I don't have any friends I can confide in. Because of all this, even if I realized my husband was cheating, I've been turning a blind eye to it. One day, I realized that my period hasn't come for a while. And sometimes, I felt strange nausea. Maybe. I decided to muster up the courage to talk to my husband. If he knew we were expecting a child, perhaps he would come back to me. Since my husband adored his nephew, I thought he would be happy to hear we were having our own child. Hey, I think I might be pregnant.
Ha!
Lately, I haven't had my period, and I've been feeling like I have morning sickness.
Are you kidding me? Even if it's true, you should consider abortion.
Wait, why? What do you mean?
Because, you're 35, aren't you?
So what?
Well, you know, pregnancy over 35 comes with risks. There's no guarantee the baby will be delivered safely, and there's a chance they might have disabilities.
What?
And besides, I have no intention of raising a child with you. Maybe we should just break up.
What? Why would you say that? You like kids, don't you? You adore your nephew, right?
Ah, I was just pretending to like him. I don't actually like kids. I hate crying babies.
That's...
And besides, I've been thinking of you more like a maid. But if you're going to have a child, then you're out. You do realize, don't you? I have someone else. It'd be easier to live with her.
What, are you going to leave me? My husband smirked and said,
You know how they say you should replace electronics after 10 years? Well, we've been married for 10 years too, so maybe it's time to replace the wife.
He said that as if it were nothing. I couldn't believe he was this kind of person.
I'm going to the other woman's place right now. I'll send you the divorce papers soon, so make sure you sign them and file them.
Are we really getting divorced? If there's something wrong with me, I'll fix it.
Ha! Something wrong with you? Your very existence is the worst. Do whatever you want with the child. Abort it, raise it, I don't care. Though with your measly income, you probably can't raise a kid. Ugh.
With those hateful words, my husband left the house. Left alone in the house, I was overwhelmed with tears. What did I do wrong? I did all the housework just as he asked, and I never caused any trouble. How can I suddenly be facing divorce? What should I tell my family? And with a child on the way, what am I supposed to do from now on? These thoughts swirled in my mind, leaving me in a state of withdrawal. A few days later, I heard the sound of the front door opening, and my husband returned.
Hey, are you here?
Looks like no one's home.
I could hear a woman's voice too. She was wearing a miniskirt, heavy makeup, and had a somewhat sharp-looking face with slightly slanted eyes, and she was clinging to my husband.
Eek. You scared me, I thought it was trash.
The woman noticed me lying on the living room sofa, my face streaked with tears, and she screamed.
You look like a ghost or something, like something out of a nightmare. How could you be with such a woman?
Seriously. She really does look like a ghost.
Despite being unfairly belittled and cheated on, all I, being brainwashed, could manage to say was, Did you come back?
Come back. Don't be ridiculous. I just came to get my stuff and bring the divorce papers. Here they are.
As my husband said that, he casually tossed the filled-out divorce papers at me. The moment I saw them, nausea overwhelmed me, and I covered my mouth and rushed to the bathroom.
I don't want to live here.
Yeah, her disgusting smell is lingering everywhere. Shall we start looking for a new place?
Yes, let's go to the real estate agent right away.
My husband, facing me as I struggled in the bathroom, said,
You better submit the divorce papers and get out of this house soon. Got it?
Then, he left with the woman. Crushed, I continued to cry for a while. Worried about the baby, I went to see the obstetrician and found out that I was not pregnant. The missed period and nausea were due to hormonal imbalance caused by constant stress. While I felt relieved that the pregnancy was a misunderstanding, it also gave me the opportunity to rethink my life and break free from being brainwashed by my controlling husband. I left the house I shared with him and, of course, submitted the divorce papers. I could have claimed compensation from my ex-husband since the divorce was largely his fault, but I decided not to do it as it seemed like too much hassle. Although my ex-husband may think he dumped me, I also felt like I was the one who dumped him, ready for a fresh start. I vowed to myself that I would make something of my life and prove him wrong. When I told my family about the divorce, they scolded me for acting rashy, but after explaining the details of his infidelity, they understood and supported my decision. As I continued my part-time job, I started considering my future, little knowing that unexpected opportunities awaited me. 10 years later. One day, I was enjoying shopping with my daughter, Diana. Today is her birthday. We were buying the clothes she wanted, and we had plans to go to a cake buffet. But on this perfect day, we encountered the worst possible person. Yes, my ex-husband, William. He was with another woman, not the one he cheated with that led to our divorce.
Hey, long time no see.
He approached with a smirk and glanced at my daughter.
Looks like having a baby at an older age really was a mistake. Being defective must be tough. Ha!
What? My daughter was 9 years old at the time. She was living with a prosthetic leg and using a wheelchair due to a traffic accident. What are you talking about? Could he be misunderstanding something?
This is the kid from back then, right? Looks like you lost the parent lottery.
He said this to my daughter. Noticing our exchange, my current husband approached and stood next to our daughter.
Dad, what does he mean?
My daughter asked, looking puzzled at my husband. William's expression changed drastically.
Is there something you need from my wife and daughter?
His tone was calm, but I could tell he was very angry.
What? Your wife and daughter?
Yes, that's right.
No, she was my ex-wife. And this child is mine and hers.
This child is absolutely mine. Is there a problem with that?
What?
William seemed completely confused.
It seems like we should discuss this somewhere else. Do you have time?
William had no choice but to nod at my husband's suggestion.
My office is nearby. We can talk there in private.
The woman with William looked annoyed and left the scene. As my husband led us to his company building, William turned pale.
This is the parent company of my workplace.
Is that so? By the way, what's the name of your company?
When William mentioned the name, my husband smiled.
Ah, yes. That's the company we recently took over in M&A.
Indeed, my husband had bought the company where William worked.
I had no idea. I've been so rude.
William curled in embarrassment.
Let's discuss everything, including that matter, in my office.
Since it was a weekday, there were many employees working as usual, and we walked past them to the president's office. We left our daughter, in her wheelchair, to a secretary for assistance. My husband, who is the president, began the conversation.
Where should we start? You are my wife's ex-husband, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I've heard about your time together. You abandoned her due to your infidelity.
Abandoned? That's a harsh way to put it.
William was flustered by my husband's direct remark. Have you forgotten? You did say you were going to abandon me, didn't you? I couldn't help but interject. I am no longer the person I used to be. I wouldn't stay silent after he talked about my daughter that way.
That was an amicable divorce, wasn't it? You even filed for divorce without saying a word.
That's right. So, you have no right to complain about my current life, do you?
I mean, it's impressive.
What do you mean?
Despite being dumped by me, you managed to marry the CEO even with baggage.
Baggage?
But she's my daughter, right? You were pregnant when we got divorced.
Huh? William seems to believe that this daughter with a prosthetic leg is his own.
It's sad she was born with disabilities from your late pregnancy, but it's reassuring if the new father is the president, right?
What are you talking about? She's not your daughter.
Ha! It matches the timeline, doesn't it? Or are you saying you were already with this president at that time?
That's not true.
As William and I were arguing, my husband interjected.
I also remarried. That girl is my daughter with my ex-wife.
Ha! Then what about the prosthetic leg and wheelchair?
My husband answered William's question carefully.
She lost my leg in a traffic accident a few years ago, and my current wife took care of her at that time.
Yes, after my divorce, I chose to pursue a new life by becoming a counselor. Realizing that I had been brainwashed by William, I began studying to become a psychological counselor in order to restore my mental health. I obtained my qualifications and started working at a welfare facility to support people who were in similar situations to mine. It was there that I met this young girl who had just been in a traffic accident. She became withdrawn after losing her leg in the accident. Her mother had already passed away, and my current husband struggled to get her to open up, so she came to our facility for rehabilitation. She loved reading novels and often read mature stories despite being a child. I happened to be reading the same novel, which led us to start talking, and gradually she opened up to me. Naturally, I also started talking more with her father, and eventually, we decided to remarry.
So, what happened to my child from back then? Did you abort it?
William was pressing for answers. It was a misunderstanding. I wasn't pregnant.
Ha!
William's voice cracked. By the way, William, are you an employee of my husband's company's subsidiary? My husband, who is the president, quickly explains.
Yes. Actually, our company is currently working on a project for children in collaboration with the company he works for, which we recently took over.
As he said this, my husband glared sharply at William.
Yes, that's right. I'm in charge of that project. What a strange coincidence, isn't it?
William looked like he wanted to disappear.
Then we'll have to remove you from that project.
What?
William froze at the sudden announcement from the president of the parent company.
I'll talk to your manager and have you removed from this project.
William turned pale.
Sir, isn't it inappropriate to bring personal matters into work?
I'm not removing you for personal reasons.
This project is crucial for our company's future. It's a huge opportunity for me. Please don't ruin my career plans, sir.
William desperately pleaded.
I thought so. The woman you were with earlier is the daughter of your company's president, isn't she? I don't know what sweet talk you used, But you were trying to seduce her and get into the president's family, weren't you?
My husband seemed to have hit the nail on the head regarding William's intentions.
You understand, right? It's that man's ambition. This project is exactly that opportunity. Please set aside personal matters and let me do my job.
What are you talking about? Do you understand that this project aims to promote better moral education for children?
Of course.
Yet, despite that, you didn't hesitate to make discriminatory remarks about my daughter. She's only 9 years old. I can't entrust this job to someone who can't even consider a child's feelings.
I didn't mean. If you removed me from the project, I wouldn't just miss out on a promotion, I wouldn't be able to stay in the company. Please stop. Please forgive me. I thought she was my daughter and it slipped out.
Even if she were your own child, you shouldn't call her defective.
Hey, help me out here.
William pleaded as he faced my husband's intense anger. What are you saying? You reap what you sow, don't you?
This happened because you were with that girl. What are you going to do about it?
William accused me crazily.
It's your fault. Everything would have been fine if I hadn't met you. Why did you have to do this to me?
It's all your fault. Seeing William like that, my husband added more.
If you continue to verbally attack us like this, I will report the details to not only your department manager but also to the president, who is the father of that young lady. If you don't want to lose your job, reflect on your actions and start over.
With my husband's ultimatum, William turned tail and left. Then my husband looked at me with a smile and said, "Let's go home." Although the celebration for our daughter's birthday didn't go as planned that day, she smiled happily and enjoyed herself nonetheless. Afterwards, it seems William, my ex-husband, faced consequences within the company. The reason for being removed from the project, his discriminatory remarks towards the child, became widely known within the company, leading to him being sidelined into a less significant role. Naturally, he earned the wrath of the president, who happened to be the father of the woman he was involved with at the time, resulting in a ban on any further contact with her. Being looked upon disapproval by those people around him, he lost faith in humanity, and eventually quit his job, now living as a recluse at home. It's a pitiful situation. But, ultimately, it's all of his own making. As for me, I've been enjoying happy days since then. My daughter has grown accustomed to her prosthetic leg, and it seems she might be able to graduate from using a wheelchair soon. What's more, it looks like she has even found a boyfriend at school. The new project at my husband's company has been selected for a new initiative by the Department of Education, and it will be utilized in moral education classes at elementary and junior high schools nationwide. I am actively involved as a key member of the project, and my name has been mentioned as a candidate for the company's next executive officer. Let me make it clear that this is not due to any favoritism from my husband, who is the president. Since we had that incident on our daughter's birthday, we're planning to take a family trip abroad for our next wedding anniversary to refresh ourselves. Whether we should go to Europe or the Caribbean, we haven't decided. The decision-making process is part of the fun.